What is going on, guys? My name is Kenji. Welcome back to my channel. Hope it's not the first time you're watching one of my videos, but just in case it is, I'm finally a medical student and a biomedical science graduate studying King's College London. And guys, us YouTubers are so good at talking about how much money we make all the time. I think one thing that we never actually do is talk to you guys about how much debt we're actually in. So in this video, for the first time ever, I'm actually going to be looking at how much student debt I've actually accumulated over the last 8 years of university, living in university and also paying my tuition fees in university. Then also towards the end, what I'm also going to do is to talk to you guys about my general thoughts about tuition fees and student debt. So if you're in university or looking to go to university and you're worried about actually picking up student debt, hopefully that's something I can talk to you guys about and give you guys my opinion on. So as a bit of background, guys, I study medicine at King's College London and I've been in university for the last 8 years. I did a 3-year bachelor's degree in biomedical science and then I moved on to do a 5-year degree in medicine at King's College London. And in order to fund all of this, I don't come from a rich family, so I didn't have the money immediately to pay for all of this entire degree. So I had to actually take a loan from the government in order to actually pay for my living and also to pay for my tuition fees here in the UK. Now, here in the UK, how it works is that the majority of students, unless they're lucky, actually take up a loan from the government like I have, like you're about to see. And this government loan is something that the government actually gives to us to fund our degree in terms of our living again and in terms of actually paying for our tuition fees. But they also charge us a bit of interest every single year from the first day that we receive that loan. And that's something that we eventually have to pay back when we actually start working. And you only pay back a certain percentage of what you make in your job. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started to actually look at how much debt I'm actually in. I honestly predict it'll probably be in the 6-figure range, but I'm actually really excited to go ahead and find out how much it is and share this with you guys as well. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so if you go into Google Chrome and type in student loans company, this is basically the national kind of company that we use here in the UK to pay our loans. It's a government company, and I think if we go on here, I'll be able to actually log in and see how much debt I actually have. So if we go onto here, sign in, as we can see, I've accumulated over £112,000 of debt, which is actually quite I was going to say it's quite shocking, but I almost expected it because I've obviously been in university for 8 years now, guys. I've taken out loans for my tuition and also for my maintenance, and I've actually paid back zero completely, and apparently the interest added has been £2,000, which is actually not that much. I think I probably, okay, this is this year, so in this year alone in 2021 I've accumulated another £2,000 of interest alone, and apparently my interest is 4.2% and 1.5%, whatever that means. So yeah, so that is quite a hefty amount, guys. As I said, it's something that I kind of expected and I'm not too surprised about, but let's go ahead and actually talk about what my opinion is on student debt and what I actually think about this figure in general. All right, so the first point I want to make is that debt kind of works differently in the UK. And what I mean by that is that you only repay 6% of your income over a certain repayment threshold, which right now is currently £21,000 a year, or about £1,750 a month. So essentially what that means is that I will not pay any sort of student debt until I earn above £21,000 a year. And then once I do earn above that threshold, I only pay 6% over that certain figure. So if we take a certain example, so if I, let's say, earn £30,000 a year in the UK, I'll only have to pay £45 back a month because I'm only paying 6% above that £21,000. So I'm essentially only paying 6% of £9,000, which apparently works out to be £45 a month, which actually isn't that bad. £45 a month on that salary is kind of like a phone contract at the end of the day. It's actually not too bad. So in the UK, you don't really have to worry about not getting a job and not being able to kind of pay that back because you won't pay it back until you actually have a job, and a job that actually earns you pretty well above £21,000. The second thing is that in the UK, if you don't pay this loan back in 30 years time, it's completely written off. So they kind of tell you to think about it like a tax. I'm not so sure if it is a tax because it's a lot of money to be a tax. But essentially, if you do not pay it back in 30 years time, it's completely removed from your records. And looking at my figure, I probably won't be able to pay that back in 30 years time unless I won the lottery. So for me, I know that the majority, or at least some of it at least, will be written off by the government and I won't have to pay it back in actual fact. The next thing is how much you actually owe is not known to anyone. So the actual student debt you have in the UK, in my understanding, is that it's not really classified as debt. It's separate to any other sort of debt that you might have. So for example, if you are in debt because you took out a credit card or you took out a loan, that is actual financial debt. But student finance isn't actually counted as your financial debt. So when you're filling out a application to buy a house, for example, they don't actually take into account how much student loan you actually pay because of course it's a governmental scheme. So it's not really classified as financial debt, which actually helps quite a lot. The second point is that if you guys are someone like me who didn't come from a family who would, straight away be able to pay off all of my debt and support me throughout university, then you kind of have no choice, and I know that kind of sounds bad, but it's actually not in a bad way. And what I mean by that is that for me, it was either the choice of not going to university, not picking up any sort of debt whatsoever, and then working a job that I probably won't enjoy for the rest of my life. Or on the other hand, I can go to university, actually learn, educate myself, and then eventually get a job that I actually really, really love and really am passionate about, and have a student loan. Those were the two options I had. I didn't have, a family that will pay off everything immediately for me. I wasn't fortunate enough to have that. If you are, then that is great. That's really lucky. But I wasn't in that position myself. There's either work a job that I'll hate and not enjoy, or get a bit of debt, a bit of student debt, and actually go and become a very skilled worker and enter a job in a career that actually I'm really passionate about and really will love for the rest of my life. Those were the two options for me, and it was actually no brainer to go with the option of going to university, get into a bit of debt, but also become the doctor that I want to be one day. The next point about what I think in regards to student debt is that it's actually a huge privilege to be able to get any sort of student loan in the whole entire world. There are many countries in the whole entire world, like America or even Kenya or parts of Africa, like where I come from, where if you're not born into a family who is rich and who can actually afford your student loans, to afford paying for your living, you will not go to university. There is no choice for you. You either have the money or you don't have the money. So actually being able to take out a loan from the government, take out a loan from student finance, is actually a huge privilege that we have here in the UK. This is a governmental scheme. It's provided by the government for people like us in order to be educated, in order to chase our dreams. So in the UK, as long as you work hard, as long as you put in loads of effort, you're entitled to free education up until the age of 18. And then once you reach that point, you're entitled to money to be able to help you fund your career in whatever career that is, whether it's, maths, finance, medicine, dentistry, whatever that is. You have the opportunity to be able to pay for education, which is actually a huge privilege, and not many places around the world and not many people in this world actually have that privilege. So although I do have a lot of debt, I still am very thankful that I was able to be in a position to actually accumulate debt to actually pay for my university. The next point for me to make is that in the UK, all degrees, whether it's art, history, English, maths, all degrees are charged the exact same fee of £9,250. So even right now, I'm paying £9,250 per year to be educated, to be a highly skilled worker, to gain all of the skills that a doctor becomes and actually acquires. And for me, that was a no-brainer. In order to pay that £9,000 a year, for 5 years, actually for 4 years, and develop the skills that I need to be in the job and the career that I have always dreamed to be, that actually is not that much money, and it's a no-brainer. And actually in other countries in the Western world, like for example in America, if you're going to go to America and study medicine at a good top performing university, you may be paying 4 or 5 times more than I am to actually attend medical school. Harvard University, for example, one of the best universities in the world, costs so much money for medical school. Whereas in the UK, if you go to Oxford or Cambridge or King's College London like I do, as long as you're a home UK student, you only pay £9,250 a year. And I know that's a lot for some places in the world, but for the Western country and for a good university, that's actually not too much for medical school. And in actual fact, what they say is that in order to fully train a medical student through 5 years of university to become a doctor, what it actually costs is £250,000. That's actually what it costs the government in order to fund us, in order for us to become doctors. I'm only paying about £45,000 of that. The other £210,000 or so is being covered by the government. So even though I'm paid £9,000, it sounds like a lot. It's not actually how much it takes to make a doctor. So I'm actually getting a good deal here in a way, and I'm only being charged £9,250 to get the career that I want to be. And for me, again, that's a no-brainer. The next point that I want to make kind of links to the last points is that in medical school, even though it's 5 years here in the UK, you only actually have to pay up until your 4th year. From your 4th year medicine, you may actually be eligible for an NHS bursary. So for me, because I'm a graduate medical student, because I had another degree before actually starting medicine, I'm only eligible for it in my final year, my 5th year. So in this year, I'm actually getting my tuition fee for the whole entire year completely paid for by the NHS. And what I'm also getting is maintenance money to maintain me throughout this whole entire year. So only in actual fact, I'm only paying for the first 4 years medicine. And if you're an undergrad student, you may only be paying for the first 3 years. So actually, it's not a bad deal again, because I'm getting an entire year completely paid for, completely for free. So actually, I'm only contributing to 20% of my actual degree. And again, if you think about it, I'm only paying for a small fraction compared to what the government is actually paying for in regards to training me completely to be a medical student. And that is a huge privilege. And I'm actually grateful for having this debt that you guys see over here. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how much debt I have, how much money I still have to pay back and will have to pay back when I start working as a doctor. And I hope you guys also understand my kind of thought pattern when it comes to how I visualize this figure on the screen. As I said, I don't really see that as a loan. I see that as an investment myself, you know. Even though it is so much money, I see that as the money that I put aside to invest in myself, invest in who I am, invest in my future. So to me, that figure doesn't really like hurt me or doesn't make me scared. It makes me actually quite happy that I've been privileged enough to be here in the UK to get a loan that equates to that much in order to pay for my studies and in order to pay for my own future. So if you're going to university, honestly, you know, given all these points I mentioned, I personally would not worry at all or too much about the debts that you're going to incur as well. I would actually encourage you to use it to make something of your own future and to make yourself have a better future and get the dream and the career that you want in the future. I hope this has added value to you guys. If it has, please make sure to drop a like and a comment down below. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Here are some other videos regarding money and stuff like that that you might also want to watch as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.